Nick Palmisano, and this is the Bad News Network. It appears Prime Minister Netanyahu will secure his 5th term as the leader of Israel, claiming 65 of 120 votes for his Likud party. In a televised statement, Yair Lapid, who is the number 2 in the centrist Blue and White Party, has clearly learned a lot from U.S. politics, delivering this statement: "We didn't win this round. We will make Likud's life hell in opposition." This week in international espionage news, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was arrested by British authorities. And folks, he did not look good. He looked like the deranged love child of Gandalf the Grey and current-day Randy Quaid. Assange has resided in the Ecuadorian embassy in London since 2012 when he was granted asylum. That all changed on Thursday when Ecuador revoked his asylum status and allowed him to be hauled out by authorities and placed into custody. When asked why his status was revoked, Ecuadorian President Lenin Moreno said, "I'm just sick of him being a giant bag." The question now remains, what will happen to Assange? Britain doesn't want to extradite him if it could mean the death penalty. Meanwhile, Sweden has a long-standing sexual assault case against him and would love to have him on their shores. We don't know when British authorities are going to make a decision. It could take days or even weeks. In dysfunctional American news, Attorney General Barr has stated that spying did occur on the Trump campaign and that he would likely be launching an investigation into some Obama officials. Well, that's good. I was just beginning to think all this investigating was finally over. In local news, tragedy struck Wednesday at the coffee shop Caffeinate when a contractor hit a gas main, resulting in a massive explosion. The explosion injured as many as 17 people and also took the life of the owner, Kong Lee. Mr. Lee was in the process of placing a sign on the door stating that there was a gas leak and people should stay away when the explosion occurred. It has been confirmed that he personally evacuated everybody else from the building prior to that event. The building itself and the one behind it, a historic Porsche gallery, were both completely leveled by the explosion. Caffeinate and the people that worked there were a frequent and long-standing favorite of the employees of Ranger Up, and our hearts go out to them. Mr. Lee leaves behind his son and daughter, who also worked alongside him. Thankfully, neither were present during the blast. On a very personal note, the blast, though a few blocks away, shook this building so hard that we actually thought perhaps a truck was ramming the building. Mr. Lee woke up that morning planning on doing what he always does, which is make incredible coffee and waffles for the many patrons he has in Durham. In the blink of an eye, while trying to do the right thing, he is gone. This just as easily could have been me, any of the RU staff, or really anyone. Many of you know this already, but it's really easy to get caught up in the rigmarole of life. Don't waste the time that you have. Mr. Lee was loved by the community, and his loss is already felt and will be for quite some time. Rest in peace, sir. The aftermath of the Parkland school shooting remains mired in controversy. The families of the victims are now filing 22 lawsuits against the Broward County Sheriff's Office, the town, and others for really working as a team to be completely and totally incompetent. Both the school board and the Sheriff's Office have stated that they will not comment on litigation, but they did say that they both plan to fight it. It is not yet known what the families are seeking for compensation. In Brexit news, Prime Minister Theresa May has pushed for a 6-month extension on the decision about whether to pull the UK out of the EU. Thus far, Parliament has not been able to reach an agreement on their own exit strategy deal. French Prime Minister Macron has praised the extension while simultaneously warning them not to take too long to come to a decision. This is all just a fancy way of saying that nothing has happened and nothing will continue to happen for at least 6 months. In Skynet news, the Washington County Sheriff's Department was called when a man and his nephew called the police, finding a burglar trapped in their bathroom after they had gone out for a walk. 3 seasoned deputies went into the house, guns drawn, ready to meet this burglar. The suspect could be heard rustling and banging around inside the bathroom, possibly trying to make an exit through the bathroom window. When deputies rushed in, they found a Roomba furiously cleaning the bathroom. The deputies all had quite a laugh. The man and his nephew laughed. The Roomba laughed. The deputy shot the Roomba, and a crisis was averted. Oddly, there were 2 other Roombas in the house that were not shot, but no one can tell why. 2,000 men and women were recently questioned in a study to determine how much money it would take for them to ditch their BFF. As it turns out, 40% of them would readily forego their friendship for some financial freebies. The results showed that women wouldn't think twice about ditching their best friend for £106,000. Men, on the other hand, held out for a bit more dough to ditch their bro at £180,000. This puts the average friendship value ceiling at about £131,000 sterling, just in case you felt like £1 million this morning. I was going to just say $1 million towards the end of that joke, but I know damn well some of you out there would be arguing about the conversion rate. So if you do feel like £1 million, as a woman, you're only worth about 1/10 that. As a man, on the other hand, you're approaching 1/5. For those of you drawing parallels to the wage gap and trying to make the argument that even women value women less than men, please don't. That would be pretty misogynist, and it's not the kind of thing that we condone here at BNN. It's far more likely that what's at play here is simply the female gold digger gene. In Navy news, 2 naval officers that were held responsible for a collision in 2017 have had the charges dropped. Commander Bryce Benson and Lieutenant Natalie Combs were being held on charges from when destroyer Fitzgerald collided with a container ship off the coast of Japan. The collision resulted in the loss of several of the Fitzgerald's crew, and Navy officials were considering charging them with negligent homicide. Though the charges will be dropped, both of their careers will now be cut short. The tragedy highlights a number of issues with the Navy's leadership and ops tempo, and have resulted in a number of changes over the past year. One new rule that seems to have made a profound impact is that the Navy is now teaching sailors how to steer ships, and they've made a hard and fast rule that you are no longer allowed to crash into things. The silly white uniforms, however, remain in place. Army Secretary Mark Esper has told members of the House Appropriations Committee that he is proposing to stop the purchase of new Chinook helicopters. The proposal comes as a way for the military to free up cash to invest in the modernization of aircraft. After all, it's 2019 and it's high time that we had some fly-shippy floaty boats with freaking laser beams attached to them. The current fleet of Chinooks will stay in service as they are the youngest current aircraft, despite the fact that they leak oil everywhere and shake themselves apart. This week, a New York State bill to give free or significantly discounted tuition to Gold Star families has been blocked in committee. 2 weeks prior, the same committee allotted $27 million to fund the DREAM Act. This act would make undocumented immigrants eligible for awards and assistance for higher education. All this while the Gold Star Family Program has an estimated price tag of only $200,000. Assemblyman Stephen Hawley was quoted as saying that although the bill was held to send a message, it may have sent the wrong one. Possibly. But only if the message that you were trying to avoid sending was that New York State clearly prioritizes the education of illegal immigrants over the education of the families who have paid the ultimate price for the country. But if that's the message you wanted to send, then you totes nailed it. In space news, an Earth-wide collaboration for the Event Horizon Telescope has just managed to capture a picture of a black hole. The M87 black hole is supposed to be 6.5 billion times the size of the Sun and is wider than Neptune's orbit around the Sun, which of course is almost as big as your mom. The black hole draws any and all matter towards its center and is so dark and dense that even light can't escape it. It is the darkest and most crushing force known to man, outside of a stuck elevator playing Nickelback music. The House of Representatives on Wednesday passed a bill to restore net neutrality, which was taken away by the FCC almost a year ago. The bill, called the Save the Internet Act, would require that all internet providers treat all internet traffic the exact same way. Providers would once again be prohibited from either blocking, speeding up, or slowing down any internet content. That's good, because I think we've all really been feeling the massive changes to the internet in the past year. Also, this won't pass the Senate. And finally, in Florida Man news, 59-year-old Andrew Lippy, who just last week bought an island for $8 million, was arrested for stealing $300.79 worth of products from his local Kmart. Which just goes to show you that regardless of success, the Florida gene always comes out on top. And with that, I'm Nick Palmisano, and this is the Bad News Network. Our news is at least as bad as the news you're getting already, and I'm sitting at a brand new desk. Yeah!